Hi everyone, I'm Thomas Lemoine, solution expert in Crossknowledge. I will be interviewing Patrick Benammar, the Vice President of Learning and Development in Renault Group. Hi Patrick.
Hello Thomas, glad to be with you today.
Thank you for being with us today. I'm so glad that actually you can share with us your vision about learning and how you are implementing it in Renault Group. And let's start straight away with the first question. Let's give some context about the industry that you are working on. The car industry, the automotive industry, is the industry which has undergone the most change and needed to adapt to trends, crises very quickly. It's actually the industry that needed to transform itself the most quickly to survive. Adapt offers to green revolution, strategy to all-electric fleets and batteries, the big pressure from the low-cost competition, semiconductor component shortage that put pressure on supply chains, etc. And on top of that, the COVID crisis struck. So as an L&D, Patrick, could you please let me know what this challenge, what are your L&D HR challenges with regard to this context?
Thank you, Thomas. I think one of the big challenges for us is to support this transformation and to help our employees to develop the skills that will be highly needed for being competitive tomorrow. So this is one big challenge for Renault because, as you mentioned before, the company itself is very much impacted by the electrification of the cars, the higher connectivity which is required in the car, the fact that the industry itself is progressing a lot with a lot of digitization in our plants. But we have also opening new businesses, new forms of mobility, new circular economy models that are impacting our capacity, for example, to recycle materials or to recycle batteries to give them a second or a third life. So this is also important to help our employees getting these new skills in order to transform Renault business models for tomorrow.
Interesting. So how did you address these challenges?
So the first point is, I would say, the development of an offer which is taking into consideration two aspects. The first one is related to the technical challenges that we are facing. This is why we have internally 15 functional academies which are developing technical content, I would say nourished by the expertise of our senior leaders in order to be able to understand what are the challenges our teams are facing today, but also what are the challenges they will have to face tomorrow in terms of technical skills. And secondly, I would say the cultural change, which is associated to a transformation. This is why we launched an initiative which was called the Renault Way, that was helping our employees to understand what, in terms of, I would say, transversal skills, we could say soft skills, they need to embrace in order to be part of the game in this new automotive ecosystem of tomorrow, but also to develop new roles and new form of organizations associated to the new ways of working that we are implementing.
And do you have some example? How did you upskill or reskill specific populations such as managers, sales, or talents?
So I have two examples that are quite easy to understand. The first one is related to the managers. So we have built an online curriculum for our managers and specifically for the new managers, the new nominated managers or the new managers joining Renault. So this is a program called Onboarding Managers, and it has been designed based on the 11 competencies that we want to address for managers, but also based on the content we have curated from the Crossknowledge offer in order not only to make this, I would say, e-learning program visible for our managers, but also impacting the managers in all the countries where we operate, because as it is an online solution, it is accessible for any manager across the globe on our learning platform, which is called Learning Italians. The second example, which is interesting also, is the fact that we have decided to create a university, which is called the Renault University. No is a game. It's an interesting approach because it's know, like the word to know, where we are implementing initiatives to support the transformation of our skills through partnerships with other industrial companies or academics. So the idea is to design together the learning contents that we will need tomorrow, to do it together in order to be able to spread them around the ecosystem where we operate. And not only for our employees, but also for the employees of the other companies which are associated to this change, but also to the future generation, because the objective is also to educate the future generation on these aspects.
So thank you for these two very clear examples. So, and how Crossknowledge concretely supported you with this transformation?
The 2 points which are important for us was to find relevant content in the Crossknowledge offer in order to support the digitalization of the training modules. Of course, when we launched this initiative, it was in 2018. At that time, there was no pandemic. So it was much more for us a test to measure the appetite of our managers on digital learning. You can understand that in 2019 and 2020, it was not an option for our managers to use this digital content and to be trained through digital activities. And it was, of course, one of the major elements of the offer we could have pushed during this period. So we started on a pilot experience, and finally it became an important part of the offer which is provided today to the management teams.
And did it work? How was the result?
Well, yeah, it was very, very. The result was very surprising because we have today more than 11,000 managers across the world that has been embarked in this project. Because initially it was dedicated for the new managers, but the word to mouth made the initiative available for all because it was visible in the learning management system for all managers. So today we have more than 11,000 employees across the globe that have been going through this program with a high level of completion because we have a completion rate at around 80%, more than 80% today, which means that the selection of contents that we have made was very much appreciated by the learners. The good news is that we didn't stop the design of the program. So we started with 4 modules, 4 steps, and we decided in 2019 and in 2020 to add new steps. So today we have 6 steps in this program, including 2 steps, one on diversity and inclusion, and one on ethics and compliance, which were added in order to give to this program a larger extent and a greater impact on our management populations.
Wow. That's a nice program that I would like to be enrolled in. So finally, I have a last question in few words, according to you, Patrick, because we are in this HR conference with the tagline Future of Learning. What does future learning look like for you?
I would say the first word for me would be exciting, because as we have seen before, the landscape of learning have changed a lot compared to where we stand 3 years ago. At the time where talking about digital learning or learning at distance was considered as an experimentation and not really as a way to develop, I would say, relevant training activities for our populations. Second word I would use would be the word land of opportunities. The learning and development activities are today the capacity to explore new possibilities, new technologies, linked also to the digitalization of the learning activities, but also the fact that we have more integration of learning in the flow of work. And this means also that we can use collaborative solutions like Microsoft Teams, for example, to develop learning activities that were not possible before and that are very well integrated in the daily operations and more easy to access for our learners. So the third key word for me would be accessibility. How could we increase the accessibility to learning to more population? And this is a big point because Today, we are focused very much on our employees and our learners. Tomorrow, we want to give more access to learning to people who are motivated to learn, which means people who are not in our organization, who are outside organization, who are keen to know what's happening in the automotive industry, or who are students who want to illustrate the learning by some concrete examples derived from the industry. So for me, this is also the key word: accessibility and openness to new frontiers.
Thank you very much. So exciting, integration, new possibility, and accessibility. It's what I will retain. Give access anywhere, anytime to the one that really need it. That's a nice vision. And thank you again, Patrick, for having been here today to share your vision. And I would be happy to have next time some demonstration of what is the Renault way and your Renault University.
Thank you very much and enjoy the conference.
Thank you.